Mark in Detroit. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Eddie. Hey, Dave. Stephen Pearcy. Wow. As a teenager,
Yes,
you were
sir.
my idol, so this is a unique pleasure for me to get to talk to you. So,
Thank you.
a question that I had was, I've always loved your style of singing. Like, it's more like a vocalization. And I wanted to know how you developed that singing style and if you've ever had any problems with it.
I always have problems with it, forgetting words, this and that. But, I don't know. I've never taken myself seriously as a singer. I don't.
If I might chime in, I think if I might add, I think what he's talking about is if, as a listener, it sounds like you're using your vocal cords in a way that would be straining and harmful, but you don't seem to have a problem with it.
No, it just sounds how it sounds.
Yeah.
And
Well, here's what I'll say about that, jumping in, talking about his voice. There are these guys out there, when you hear them, you know exactly who it is.
Oh, yeah.
Super identifiable. So the minute you hear Steven sing, that's like, boom, that's...
it's a curse, too, sometimes with the solo music and whatever else. They're like,
Was there somebody that you modeled your approach as a kid to singing? Was there people you were hearing? Was something that shaped you?
Robert
influenced you?
Plant.
But see, that's interesting because you sound nothing like Robert Plant.
I hear
Right.
it. Yeah, I hear it.
You do?
I do. Yeah, I hear it in the high register when he hits some of the high register stuff.
Yeah. And Alice Cooper and Eric Bloom.
From
Oyster
PLC?
Cult, big fan.
Yeah.
You're saying, no, that's fucking Robert Plant all day.
I guess so.
Yeah,
now that
that's
you say
true.
It,
Yeah.
You gave it away, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't give it away.
Give it away.
I'm giving examples of your own story.
Well, it's not exactly unique that somebody who's influenced by Plant or Page or anyone from.
Well, I'm
Zeppelin
actually
is,
only into bands that are influenced by him. I hate Zeppelin.
You really?
Yeah, but I'm into Greta Van Fleet and Kingdom Come. So my whole thing is bands that sound like Zeppelin.
But aren't Zeppelin.
But
That
I hate
aren't.
fuck Zeppelin.
Wait, you forgot one.
Which one?
What's that other band sounded like Zeppelin? Lenny White or Lenny Wolf?
That's Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come.
Yeah,
Oh.
Kingdom Come,
he
dude.
was the singer in Kingdom Come. Yeah.
That's
Great
a
sounding
song.
record, though.
Yeah.
Get it on. Mark, did that answer your question, kind of?
Yeah, it did. And Stephen, if you guys put out a CD, I promise I'll go buy the real thing and not stream it. So.
Right on. We appreciate it, but the album comes out next week, and then we're only selling it for one day.
Thank you, Mark.
So in other words, CD's nuts.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. This is Keith in Maryland. Keith is up next with Stephen Pearcy and Dave Navarro. What's going on, Keith?
Hey,
Keith.
guys, I can't wait to pre-order the album I Hate Us.
I hate us.
I Hate Us.
That's a good title. You just titled our new record.
I hate us.
I hate us.
Well,
the
you
new
guys
record.
were mentioning it. I can't take full credit. You guys were talking about that earlier, so I can't take full credit. But I think that's what you
I'll give
call
you
it.
royalties, points, whatever you want.
Yeah,
Stephen's
we'll
been
go
down
with
those
that.
roads
That sounds
before.
good.
Yeah,
He's
right.
had those conversations
But the album title-
10 million times.
Just take it.
I hate us, hiatus is great.
Yeah,
I hate us, hiatus.
there you go. The new record.
But I
Thank
just
you.
want to. This was a treat because Rad is one of my all-time favorite bands, and Nothing Shocking is one of my all-time favorite albums. So this is definitely double dipping.
Cool. Thank you.
I hope you guys
Nice.
do come on again. Yeah, really. And
Thank you.
I wonder if Steve. Yeah, you're welcome. And I wonder if Stephen would entertain the thought of singing "Thing Caught Stealing."
Whoa, that's
Say
interesting.
That is
what?
interesting.
Who's
Singing
that?
Jane's
He- you're-
Addiction.
you're-
Oh, that would be
Been
cool. I was
called
actually going to bring it up. If we had more time, I probably
you're
would have
putting
dwelled
him
into
on the
that.
spot, but I'd have to learn it too.
I'd have to learn it too.
Good.
For the right price, I could remember it.
Exactly. Dave just was playing some Enormo Dome
yeah,
right now.
I happen to remember
I'll
it.
whip out Been Caught Stealing in 2 seconds.
Eromo Dome.
Little-
Sorry, buddy. Another time.
that's all you got.
Okay.
That's all
The
you
next
got.
LA visit,
Yes.
not a problem.
We'll learn it for next time.
Yes.
Well,
All right,
tell you what,
I'll be listening.
We have some, like I was saying earlier, if you're listening to the show at the beginning, the boss had some grand plans for, going forward here. So maybe sooner than later if it all works out. So.
Well, I think
Yeah,
they should
Dave,
work on it too, even after the show. they should communicate with each other and record it.
He's got it all.
We're way ahead of you.
Way ahead of you, man.
All right, I'll be sending you both a message on Twitter to get updates on I Hate Us. So I'll make sure that you guys are pushing forward with that.
Send it soon because I'm about to get rid of my Twitter altogether.
Are you really?
Your zitter?
I'm over
Thank
it.
you, Keith, for the call. Are you really?
Yeah.
Well,
Facebook.
I don't really do
the
Facebook.
only reason I have Facebook is because that's the only one my dad still, checks.
Checks
So
up on you.
That's how he knows what I'm up to. So I leave that for him, but I'm checking too many things.
Twitter's the one that I like. Well, I'll give you an example. That's funny you bring this up because Twitter is where I have the biggest following and what I personally like doing the best and where I'm by far the most active, right? And it's where I update everybody what's going on. This is how this happened. Twitter is how this happened.
Especially for a daily radio show, of course.
It's great. But here's the deal. Because my schedule has been so busy, I used to love going into the mentions and responding to people because, it's great to communicate with people who care about what you do and have a back and forth. But playing into what you said before earlier about the hypersensitive, you can't say this, you can't say that. There was I was on the plane last night. Okay, I got 6 hours to kill. I finally got a chance to talk to a couple people that follow me. So I go and I click off a few things. And there was a news post about Steve Perry doing another record. Now, Steve Perry was on this show when his last record came out. And all I did was simply respond to that post and say, it's great we got Steve back. It was an honor to have him on the show. He's really going to have to at some point decide if he wants to go out and play live because that's really where the business is if you're really going to advance.
Oh, my God, dude. You said that on Twitter?
You wouldn't believe it.
I can't believe it.
It was this out I couldn't believe what just happened. Are you fucking kidding me?
Did you start a firestorm?
No, but no.
I got shit for referring to men as males and females as women. And someone ran in on me. Yeah, exactly. I don't even fucking know.
But you shouldn't cave to it. Don't shut it down.
I didn't know.
Don't shut your Twitter down. Don't look at it.
Let me tell you something. I didn't cave to it. I fucking set her straight. And I said, listen, here's the reality. I'm 53 years old. Forgive me if, in the last 5 minutes, I haven't relearned how to speak. You know what I mean? And
I will not cave to this horseshit that's
I'm not
going
caving.
on out there. Good. Stay strong, Navarro.
But I'm caving to Twitter.
Dave Navarro on Twitter.
I like my Instagram because I can reshare stuff. I can put up
people
pictures.
Can write shit on there. I don't really do it.
I don't give a fuck about the shit they write. I just don't need to be a slave.
I don't want to always have to have a picture.
Right, but I don't want to be a slave. But for your business, it makes sense. No, I'm saying for your business, it makes sense. For me, all I can do on Twitter is get myself in trouble.
I get a lot of my news, though, from Twitter, too, like information, things I follow, not even, music-related stuff. So, I don't know. Everybody's got their thing. Ricky in Maryland. Go ahead,
Ricky. Stay near the light.
Man, I am so jealous that you got two of the coolest motherfuckers right in front of you, man. That is awesome.
Thank you, buddy.
We are
I'm
motherfuckers.
a fan of both you guys.
I think he was talking about me and Steven, or Dave.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? What do you think the real story was?
So, Steven, man, Rat and Motley pretty much ruled the '80s, man. Those two bands were the fucking '80s. Everybody else was around you guys, but you and Motley were it, man. Through all that, you guys.
I appreciate it. I think there were others, but that's cool. Thanks.
No, but you guys were the top.
He's right. We were definitely
you guys ruled. You
top of the pyramid.
Ruled.
Everything else, like Black and Blue, everything that came out after that, even Wasp, all that stuff, it didn't come close to the.
Which is why I always said, and I mean, Steven, you can speak to this, but to me, it bums me out that Rat isn't, lack of a better term, bigger or more revered in that, because Dave's right, and so is Ricky. Of that scene in the early 80s, Rat and Motley dominated MTV, dominated the airwaves, and Motley took on this whole other thing where they're, arena act headlining and all this stuff. Do you think it's just because of all the changes in the band over the years?
No, we had our, 10 years.
Oh, of course you did.
And now, well, we do some great shows, so, it is what it is. I mean, I don't cry over anything.
I'm not saying you do, but there's obviously, whether it was the changes in all the differences in the lineups and the different eras.
Yeah.
You think that really hurt?
Maybe later on, but it doesn't affect me, personally. I mean, I don't know. I've done what I've wanted to do.
Been
You know,
even-keeled. You always just, you're just.
Yeah, I just, that's why I like doing solo records and doing my own thing to get my yayas out. It's only rat and roll, man.
Ricky, you good?
Well, I was actually going to say I've been seeing. Yeah. I'm friends with Chris Sanders on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures he's been tagged in. Somebody's taking some really good pictures, but man, there's some that are very eerie.
She's right here.
Almost like a Robin Crosby. I'm like, oh my god, dude, wow, that's really weird. Do you ever look over and like see him playing, or like a certain movie? He's a tall, long blonde haired guy playing a guitar. It's just. Do you ever look over and?
Your answer is yes. Well, I have moments. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he reminds
without
me
a
of
doubt.
Robin.
Oh yeah, even some of his demeanor is crazy.
Wow.
It just worked.
Yeah,
I mean, when we all five got together,
Thank you, Ricky, for the call.
Thanks.
I didn't know Robin Crosby. What was he like as a person? I mean, obviously he had his demons.
Gentle giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the sweetest guy, and he just lived and breathed, rap music and our way of life.
Quite soft-spoken.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
And, Stephen, a big part of the writing in the band, too, back in the day, right?
Sure.
Brought a lot in.
All of us just throw it in the, pot and see what happens.
And you were saying earlier, which I wasn't really aware of, that you considered yourself early on in the days of Rat to be more of a guitar player, singer.
Yeah, and, meeting up, going back to that whiskey gig, I was excited to meet Ed because guitars and amps, and we ended up meeting and keeping in touch and going to shows, and I sold him a great Vox 30 that he wanted ahead, and introduced Robin to him and just traded off. It was a great thing,
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah. Do you still play a lot?
I play every day.
Really? How come you never play on stage?
I did on one Rat tour, and we had just one guitar player. But that's not the trip,
Right.
The answer to that question is the girls don't want to see that body covered up with an instrument. That's the answer. She knows what I'm talking about.
But
especially now, because I don't know.
Yeah,
you talk about the kings of rock and roll of the 80s and the scene, and then I'll leave it at that.
There you go.
Steve looks good.
You.
Steve looks great. You know what I'm saying?
Looks great.
Thank you.
Greg in Houston. Greg, jump in.
Hey, Eddie, how's it going?
All good, man.
Good.
Hey, I like that song.
Dave, it's a pleasure.
What's that?
Say what? Thanks.
It's a pleasure to talk to both Stephen and Dave. Dave, I had a question for you. Y'all were talking about Iron Maiden being the seventh member earlier. I wanted to see if you could talk a little bit about that project you did with Twiggy back in the day as Plastic Bachelor.
Plastic Bachelor.
It's a good name.
You had a band with Twiggy Ramirez called
you
Plastic
notice I put
Bachelor.
the guitar down to get serious?
Yeah, now Dave's going to get something to say.
Here you go.
Back in the day, Twiggy Ramirez from Marilyn Manson and I spent a lot of time together in my house, not seeing daylight.
When you say back in the day, how long ago are we talking?
Like 2 weeks.
No, how long?
Yesterday.
No. Like,
man.
I don't know, like
Here you
95, 97, something like that. And
the height of your addiction.
Yeah. Well, the height before it was
height of Jane's addiction.
No. The height before
Dave's addictions.
No, before
Dave's addiction.
Because as a high functioning drug addict, it works for a while, and you're like, I'm coasting. It was before the downfall. You know what I mean? Because the downfall's coming. This is right at the peak of it working, or what we thought was working, and we spent hours doing a cover band of Iron Maiden at half speed. Every song,
nice,
halftime.
Wow.
Which was
creepy,
fucking great.
Wow.
And it
did you record any of it?
Yeah, I think so. So it would be instead of
Wrathchild,
it would be. We played the whole. Really tuned down but distorted, but like fucking death metal tuning
on acid.
It was just fucking great.
Did you record it?
I don't know if I can remember, if I can find those, man. Those were recording in the days where those computers. I don't even know how I could access those drives anymore.
Wow. For you guys want a little peek into that world with Dave. For people who have not seen the film Morning Sun, which is about the death of your mom, of course, a tragic story. But one of the things that I remember about that film that struck me, and I remember talking to you about it at the time, is that there's footage and I don't know if it was Twiggy or someone else in the room taking it, but there's footage of you at the height of your insanity that someone's there filming you in that state. Who was capturing that footage?
In that state.
I don't know.
Oh, you got to see it, Stephen. You got to see this movie, Morning Sun.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know. I was in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And I was just, I don't know. It was a documentary crew. And with these guys following Jane's addiction, doing the documentary, and obviously that stuff wasn't going to make the Jane's documentary. And so when we were doing my film, I reached out to him and I said, hey, that found footage from the original Jane's documentary, I need to put it in my story to tell a real tale of destruction and hopefully, finding the light. And they were gracious enough to lend it to me. But that back in those days, man, it was nice. It was gnarly.
Yeah. I mean, it was shocking to watch that in that video, in that movie. Last thing, because we've got to hit a break. How long have you been sober?
Well, I don't like to do that because
good.
You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing: is when you talk about sobriety
you're not sober.
Not what I'm saying. When you talk about sobriety on a public global scale, which I think it's dangerous to suggest or not suggest anything, because I'm not a clinician, I'm not a therapist, and so I don't want anybody to take a cue from me from what I do. But what I will tell you is I've never been happier in my life.
Well,
that's how I'll leave it. You know what I mean?
And you wake up early.
But that's a fucking great answer, too. And it was so diplomatically said, and I got out of answering it.
Because the reason why I asked that is because when you watch that movie and you watch where you were
how long has it been?
Who you are now.
How long has it been since those days? Oh, like 30 years. So, yeah. I mean, since I was shooting dope and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 30 years, something like that.
Well, 30, wow. So that's
maybe 25. I haven't had a needle in my arm for drugs in a long, long, long time.
Oh, congrats.
Maybe
man.
20
That's
years,
good.
yeah.
Good. All right, let's...
because they came out with Oxy, so there's no need.
Oh, my God.
I'm kidding, of course. It's
that's tongue-in-cheek.
How do we feel about weed being legal here in California?
I'm all about it.
You're all about it?
Oh, yeah.
The edibles, the whole thing? You guys into it or no?
I'm into that sleep mode one, whatever it is, melatonin.
No, that's
gummies,
not weed.
No, weed.
Well, I'm
Let me put
I'm trying to be normal.
I'll put it to you this way.
Which is not going to happen either way. If I was high or not, it's not going to happen.
Don't change anything now, Stephen, please.
No. Let me put it to you this way.
I like where I'm at.
I'm into I would say new fringe ways of dealing with PTSD and trauma and treatments of those such things, which is what I do. A lot of that is natural earth healing, and weed is one of those things that comes from the earth, as is psilocybin, things of that nature. But I typically don't suggest that for anybody, because it's not like you take a bunch of drugs and then you're fixed. I'm talking about setting, therapist, intention, a real, almost a clinical way of going about it. How they treat soldiers that come back from war with post-traumatic stress disorder. It's the same thing. It's not a party at some guy's house in Silver Lake at 2 a.m. Oh, I'm going to fix all my demons. It's not that. I'm talking about straight, clinical medication.
We have to take a break, and then when we come back, because Dave can't stay until the end of the show, so when we come back, we've got to get the set in from Rat Addiction.
The set, we're going to play about
the song, the part of the song, whatever you're going to do.
We're going to play 20 songs, if that's all right.
Well, as long as you can do it before he has to leave.
Here's the thing. Right, I'm going to tell our fans this.
Our new fans?
Our fan. I'm going to tell our fan. Yeah.
Somebody get the domain on the website right now.
One fan.
We have never played together, nor have we rehearsed together, so we realize we know parts of 20 songs.
Exactly.
That's probably what you're going to